The Hans Niemann controversy has gone from one tournament dispute to an entire saga that is really reshaping how us chess players think about chess integrity, online platforms, and being really transparent, especially at the professional level. From over-the-board cheating allegations to lawsuits and mysterious tournament withdrawals, the story has multiple layers. And with his 2025 withdrawal from the Freestyle Chess Tour, it's clear, it's not over yet. So this all starts off with a guy named Hans Niemann. He's 19 years old, and on this dreaded day, September 2022, in the Sinquefield Cup, my man Hans Niemann defeats world champion Magnus Carlsen in round 3 with the black pieces. It's a huge upset. Hans neutralizes Magnus's d4 with a solid response in the Nimzo Indian, and plays very fearlessly in the middle game. But a lot of people raise their eyebrows when Hans explains the game in the post-game interview, and seems very vague or unsure about key lines he just played.
I didn't do anything special. He just went, well, okay, I think I played quite well. But I was actually very fortunate that this opening came on the board, and I looked at this today. And
you guessed this opening today?
I didn't guess it, but for some miracle, I had checked this today. And it's like, it's such a ridiculous miracle that I don't even remember why I checked it. I just, when I saw, I just remembered h6 and everything after this, and I have no idea why I would check such a ridiculous thing. Chess speaks for itself.
Is it something special doing this against Magnus, Hans?
And the next day, Magnus withdraws from the tournament, something he's never done before, mid-event. He tweets the now infamous Marino quote, "If I speak, I'm in big trouble." This seemingly random withdrawal from Magnus Carlsen, the GOAT of all the chess players, causes an internet storm. Elite players chime in. Hikaru Nakamura directly speculates Hans may have cheated.
If you look at the history of Hans over the last couple of years, he's had probably the most meteoric rise in the entire history of chess of any 17-year-old by far. If you look at the other juniors who I believe are around like 2700-ish, I think almost all of them became grandmasters at about 14, 15, maybe some even at 16. But to go from a 2480 IM to 2710, 2720, whatever it might be in the last 2 years, I think a lot of grandmasters are definitely suspicious of that. It's unprecedented in the entire history of chess.
Reddit explodes with speculations, ranging from reasonable doubts to obviously conspiracy theories, including, yes, vibrating devices, and I'm not going to explain what I'm talking about. You all know exactly what I'm talking about right here. So the problem is, FIDE has no concrete policy for handling cheating allegations in over-the-board events at this point. Unlike online chess, there's no algorithm flagging unusual play. Suspicion largely relies on behavioral cues, accuracy stats, and the player's vibes. I've cheated in random games on chess.com. I was 12 years old, then again when I was 16. But I've never cheated in an over-the-board game. This public confession sends shockwaves. Hans admits to online cheating in his younger years during a scandal about potential OTB cheating. It's not very a typical PR strategy. But then, chess.com drops the sledgehammer. A 72-page investigation is leaked, and not by Hans, showing that he cheated in over 100 online games, including money events and games against prominent streamers. They cite behavioral evidence, timestamps, and statistical anomalies. A key piece of this puzzle here is a centipawn loss. Hans' accuracy in some events was suspiciously close to engine-level perfection. But centipawn stats alone aren't proof. It's the combination of time use, the move correlation, and chat logs that painted a very suspicious pattern. So after all this controversy, Magnus obviously finally releases a statement. I believe Hans has cheated more recently than he has publicly admitted. And Magnus refuses to play Hans again. So obviously FIDE steps in. as the governing body organization, and they launch an official investigation. They ultimately find no direct evidence of OTB cheating, but criticize both Magnus and Hans. Magnus for quitting mid-event, and Hans for his prior dishonesty and cheating allegations. But FIDE has a dilemma. They don't want to accuse anyone without proof, but they also can't ignore the world champion's public stand as the absolute GOAT of chess. And when the GOAT of chess says something, you know what the world has to do. So about a month after this entire scandal happened, in October 2022, Hans sues Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, for posting all those videos and those tweets about his cheating, and Chess.com, and the Play Magnus Group for $100 million, alleging defamation, antitrust violations, and collusion to destroy his career. The defendants are seeking to blacklist a young prodigy from the chess world. So what happens? Well, in August 2023, Hans drops the lawsuit. No settlement, no apology, just a press release saying Chess.com and Hans, quote-unquote, resolved their differences. Alright, so after maybe a couple months after this whole controversy, Hans finally gets tired, and Magnus and Hans take a quick break from their ongoing beef. And in that break, Hans actually dominates smaller open tournaments, winning the 2023 Dubai Open and the 2024 Reykjavik Open. But he does struggle in elite individualists, often finishing in the bottom half. His rating graph actually has become a meme. Dramatic spikes in open events, followed by really big drops in closed round robins. Hans also doubles down on his persona. In interviews, he's always deliberately defiant, sometimes very cryptic, often intense, as you can see in some of the Gotham interviews, which I'll show on the screen right now.
Levy, if you really think that you're such an unbiased character, let's remind ourselves of how your career was created. You were a normal international master. I remember I was getting 2,000 viewers and you were getting 100, and then every single day you'd stream with Hikaru. Every single day after you finished, you'd raid your stream. You had the same manager. You were giving Levy. Unfortunately, you are forever indebted to Chess.com because they created your career.
I wouldn't say so. But that's also not...
No, but the thing is that do you deny the complete growth and the little catalyst of Hikaru and ChessBay's influence on your career? And
I've talked very openly on even the Lex Fridman podcast.
Yeah, but how do you really then opine as an unbiased party who's just spreading the news when you have such a close... The issue with this thing in the chess world is that the chess world is a little island. And on this island you have Chess.com, which is not the government, FIDE you could say is, and in this island, Chess.com is all this money, and FIDE is just, FIDE.
Now finally, after taking a break from this controversy with Magnus, he plays tournaments, and he gives some interviews, which some of them are a little bit weird and feisty. But finally, we have reached an end to the drama between Magnus and Hans. Or we thought so. Because in April 2025, in the Freestyle Chess Paris Tour, Hans gets accepted into this event. Everything is all cordial, Hans is ready to go to the event, he's ready to fly to Paris, the organizers and all the players are ready to greet him, and he's ready to have a fun event, playing some of the top players. Hans is ready. But suddenly, at the beginning of April, only a week before when the tournament really begins, Hans withdraws. No public explanation. His coach Kramnik doesn't say a word. Speculations fly again. Did he clash with the organization over conditions? Did he find out Magnus was attending? Was it health, protest, personal reasons? Or the biggest speculation of them all? Did Hans withdraw because the organizers said they are investing in new security equipment to detect cheating? We don't know. But the pattern always continues. Wherever Hans goes, drama always follows. Now, after Hans withdrew from the tournament and somebody else replaced him, it's finally over, at least for now. After years of enduring hardship from the chess community and getting accused for cheating for 2 years straight, finally, some things has come to a rest. Hans has left the tournament. There's obviously some tension between FIDE, between Magnus, between Hans, but that is all the information I have.